Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel, where learning English becomes not just easier, but an exciting and rewarding journey. My name is Henry, and today I'm thrilled to share with you a comprehensive guide to mastering English. This is not just any guide. It's filled with my personal stories, effective learning techniques, and practical tips that will help you unlock your full potential in English. Whether you're a beginner or at an intermediate level, this video is designed to inspire and motivate you. Keep pushing forward. So let's dive in. Part 1. The Humble Beginnings. Let me take you back to where it all started for a beautiful summer day on a train. I was sitting across from two women who were chatting away in English. At that time, I was a complete beginner, struggling to grasp even the simplest word. But something inside me urged me to try and speak. I was nervous, my heart was racing, but I knew I had to take that first step. So I mustered up the courage and said a few basic words in English. To my surprise, they understood me. That tiny conversation, though far from perfect, was a monumental moment in my journey. It wasn't just about the words I spoke. It was about the realization that I could communicate in English. Here's the first piece of advice I want to share with you. Don't be afraid to start. It doesn't matter how limited your vocabulary is or how many grammar mistakes you make. The important thing is to begin. Every word you speak is progress. And every conversation, no matter how short or simple, is a step toward fluency. Remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Part 2. Discovering the right method. After that initial breakthrough, I knew I needed to take my English learning seriously. I moved to London and enrolled in an English school, where I met an incredible teacher who would change everything for me. She had a unique approach. She didn't focus on memorizing vocabulary lists or drilling grammar rules. Instead, she encouraged us to use English in our daily lives. Her philosophy was simple. Language is for communication, not just for passing exams. One of the most valuable techniques she taught us was shadowing. This method is all about listening to a native speaker and trying to mimic their pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm as closely as possible. It's like having a personal coach with you all the time, guiding you towards more natural and fluent speech. Shadowing helps you internalize the sounds and patterns of English, making it easier for you to reproduce them in your own speech. We didn't spend much time with textbooks. Instead, we focused on real conversations, listening, and speaking. This immersive approach allowed us to experience English in its natural context, which is far more effective than rote memorization. The key takeaway here is to use English every day. Whether it's speaking, listening, reading, or even thinking in English, make it a daily habit. The more you immerse yourself in the language, the faster you'll improve. Part 3. The Power of Reading. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful tools for learning English: reading. When you read, you're not just learning new words, you're also absorbing the grammar, sentence structure, and flow of the language. Reading allows you to see how English works in context, which is incredibly valuable for developing your language skills. But here's the secret to making reading work for you. Choose materials that you enjoy. Whether it's novels, magazines, comic books, or even online articles, what matters is that you're interested in what you're reading. When you enjoy the content, you're more likely to stick with it, and that's when the real learning happens. Now, I know it can be frustrating when you come across words you don't know, but don't let that discourage you. Keep a dictionary handy. Look up the meanings and see how the words are used in context. This approach will help you remember the words more effectively because you're learning them as part of a larger picture rather than in isolation. So my next tip is read for at least 30 minutes every day. Find something you love and dive into it. Not only will this improve your vocabulary, but it will also enhance your understanding of English grammar and sentence structure. Over time, you'll find that your ability to comprehend and use English will improve dramatically. Part 4. Inspirational Stories. I want to share with you an inspiring story about a fellow student named Elizabeth. Elizabeth was in my class in London, and she was a complete beginner just a year before I met her. But when she spoke, it was like listening to a native English speaker. Her pronunciation was flawless, and she was incredibly fluent. Curious about her progress, I asked her how she managed to improve so quickly. Elizabeth explained that she followed the same methods we've discussed: reading, shadowing, and something called thinking aloud. Thinking aloud might sound a little strange, but it's incredibly effective. Essentially, Elizabeth would talk to herself in English throughout the day. Whether she was describing her actions, expressing her thoughts, or practicing sentences, she made it a habit to think and speak in English. This technique helped her bridge the gap between knowing English and using English. She didn't just memorize words, she actively used them in real situations, even if she was just talking to herself. Over time, this practice transformed her from a hesitant speaker into a confident, fluent English speaker. Elizabeth's story is a powerful reminder that with the right methods and consistent practice, anyone can achieve fluency. So, don't be afraid to try new techniques, and always remember that practice makes perfect. Whether you're speaking with others or simply talking to yourself, every bit of practice. Part 5. Overcoming Challenges. Learning a new language is never without its challenges, but these challenges are what make the journey so rewarding. Let's discuss some common obstacles you might face and how to overcome them. One of the biggest challenges is pronunciation. Many learners struggle with getting the sounds just right, and this can be discouraging. I remember a student from South Korea in my class faced this issue. He could read and understand English well, but when it came to speaking, he felt insecure about his pronunciation. He was so worried about making mistakes that he often avoided speaking altogether. But our teacher introduced him to the shadowing technique, and it made all the difference. By consistently listening to native speakers and mimicking their speech, his pronunciation gradually improved. He didn't have to be perfect. He just needed to practice consistently. Over time, he became more confident in his speaking ability. Another challenge many learners face is the fear of making mistakes. This fear can be paralyzing, but it's important to remember that making mistakes is a natural part of the learning process. In fact, making mistakes is one of the best ways to learn. When you make a mistake, you're presented with an opportunity to correct it and grow. Think about how you learned your native language as a child. You didn't worry about making mistakes. You simply tried, failed, tried again until you got it right. Learning English should be approached with the same mindset. Don't let fear hold you back. Speak up, make mistakes, and learn from them. The more you practice, the fewer mistakes you'll make, and the more confident you'll become. Part 6. Practical Strategies for Learning English. Now that we've covered the basics, let's dive into some practical strategies that you can start using today to improve your English skill. 1. Build your vocabulary through context. Instead of memorizing random words, learn new vocabulary in context. For example, if you're learning words related to food, immerse yourself in recipes, cooking shows, or conversations about food. By seeing how words are used in real-life situations, you're more likely to remember them and use them correctly. 2. Practice speaking with native speakers. Whenever possible, try to engage in conversations with native English speakers. This could be through language exchange programs, online platforms, or simply making friends who speak English. The more you practice with native speakers, the more natural your English will become. 3. Leverage technology. There are countless apps, websites, and online resources designed to help you learn English. Whether it's language learning apps, online courses, or YouTube channels like this one. Take advantage of these tools to supplement your learning. They can provide you with structured practice, immediate feedback, and a wide range of materials to suit your learning style. Or set realistic goals and track your progress. Setting achievable goals is crucial for staying motivated. Whether it's learning a certain number of new words each week or being able to hold a conversation without using a dictionary, setting goals gives you something to aim for. And don't forget to track your progress. Celebrate the small victories along the way. They'll keep you motivated and moving forward. 5. Immerse yourself in English. Surround yourself with English as much as possible. Watch English movies, listen to English music, follow English-speaking influencers on social media, and even change the language settings on your phone to English. The more you immerse yourself in the language, the faster you'll learn. Part 7. Embracing the journey. Learning English is a journey. And like any journey, it's filled with highs and lows. But remember, every step you take brings you closer to your goal. It's important to be patient with yourself and to recognize that learning a language takes time. There's no need to rush. What's important is that you keep moving forward, no matter how slow. Enjoy the process. Learning English is not just about acquiring a new skill. It's about opening doors to new experiences, cultures, and opportunity. Embrace the challenges, celebrate your successes, and keep pushing yourself to improve. If you ever feel discouraged, remind yourself of why you started learning English in the first place. Whether it's for travel, career opportunities, or personal growth, keep that goal in mind. It will be your guiding star when the road gets tough. Part 8. Hypothetical Q&A. Let's now move on to a hypothetical Q&A session where I'll address some common questions that English learners often ask. Q1. I'm struggling with grammar. Did I focus on it or just try to speak? A great question. It really depends on your goals. If your primary goal is to communicate effectively in English, then don't get too caught up in grammar rules. Instead, focus on speaking and listening. Over time, you'll naturally pick up grammar through practice and exposure. However, if you're preparing for an exam, you might need to dedicate some time to studying specific grammar points. Q2. How can I improve my listening skills? A. Improving listening skills takes time and consistent practice. Start by listening to materials that match your current level. Podcasts, YouTube videos, or TV shows with subtitles can be very helpful. As you get more comfortable, try to gradually remove the subtitles and challenge yourself with more advanced content. Also, don't be afraid to listen to the same material multiple times. Repetition helps reinforce what you've learned and improves your comprehension. Q3. What can I do to sound more like a native speaker? To sound more like a native speaker, focus on your pronunciation, intonation, and rhythm. Techniques like shadowing can be very effective. Also, pay attention to how native speakers link words together in sentences. This is called connected speech. Practice mimicking these patterns, and over time, your speech will sound more natural. Q4. Is it okay to translate from my native language when learning English? While it's okay to use translation as a tool, try to gradually wean yourself off it. Goal is to start thinking directly in English rather than translating from your native language. Techniques like thinking aloud can help with this transition. The more you practice, the more natural it will become to think and speak in English without relying on translation. Part 9. Debunking Language Learning Myths. Let's address some common myths about learning English. Myth 1. You need to study grammar rules to speak correctly. Reality. While grammar is important, you don't need to memorize rules to speak correctly. The best way to learn grammar is through context, by reading, listening, and speaking. Over time, you'll internalize the rules naturally. Myth 2. Only young people can learn a new language fluently. Reality. Age is not a barrier to learning a new language. Adults can learn languages just as effectively as children, especially when they're motivated and use effective learning strategies. Myth 3. You need to live in an English-speaking country to become fluent. Reality. While immersion in an English-speaking environment can help, it's not necessary to become fluent. With today's technology, you can create your own immersive environment no matter where you live. Online interactions, media, and practice. Part 10. Interactive Exercise. Now, I'd like to suggest some interactive exercises that you can follow along with. 1. Pronunciation practice. Find a short video of a native speaker and try to mimic their speech. Pay close attention to their intonation and rhythm. Repeat this exercise daily for 10 minutes. 2. Vocabulary expansion. Choose a topic you're interested in, such as travel or technology. Find articles, videos, and podcasts on that topic in English. Write down new words and use them in sentences. Try to use these words in your conversations or writing during the week. 3. Shadowing session. Pick a 2 to 3 minute clip of a native speaker talking and practice shadowing. Repeat what they say as closely as possible in terms of pronunciation and speed. Do this exercise for 5 to 10 minutes every day. 4. Thinking aloud. Throughout your day, practice thinking aloud in English. Describe what you're doing, how you're feeling, or what you're planning to do next. This will help you think in English and improve your fluency. Part 11. Conclusion and recap. As we reach the end of this journey together, I want to emphasize a few key points. First and foremost, remember that learning English is a marathon, not a sprint. It takes time, patience, and consistent effort. But with the right methods, like shadowing, reading, and thinking aloud, you can make significant progress. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Every mistake is a stepping stone to improvement. Use English every day, immerse yourself in the language, and most importantly, enjoy the process. Celebrate your small victories, set achievable goals, and keep track of your progress. Finally, remember that you can do this. Learning English is not just about acquiring a new language. It's about opening up a world of opportunities, making new friends, and experiencing different cultures. Keep practicing, stay motivated, and never give up. Thank you for joining me today. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. More tips and inspiration. And remember, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. But take that step today and keep moving forward. See you in the next video.